Good afternoon, dear colleagues. My name is Nomeda Gudelienė, and I'm advisor to Deputy Director on Sustainable Development at Mykolas Romeris University in Lithuania, and also I'm a part of the European Reform University Alliance VP5 Institutional Coordinator. Today I will moderate our Science Café and would like to welcome each and every one of you to our second Science Café, Collaborative Research for Regional Sustainability. Our Science Café is targeted to our ERUA and associated partners, local government representatives, business and industry leaders, NGOs and civic society organizations, researchers and students, community members, interested in sustainability, and other people who are just wanted to make a cup of coffee and join our talk. Today, we will raise questions and maybe find some solutions, how to enhance a collaborative online dialogue on sustainable development across multiple regions. Almost 5 years ago, COVID quarantine started in Lithuania, and we had to switch to online tools. And we have to take those positive things we have learned to our normal everyday life today. And having an opportunity to speak to each other and have a cup of coffee online, I think it's a great privilege to all of us. That was not imaginable some 10 years ago. So today, the aim of our talk is to gap between research and societal needs by fostering cooperation between research and regional communities, collecting different perspectives from local stakeholders on sustainability needs in France, Germany, Italy, Spain, Greece, Poland, Bulgaria, Lithuania, and to define the priority areas for future research initiatives within the European Reform University Alliance and beyond. We are hosting this online Science Café, which is designed to engage different stakeholders into talks from different disciplines, from different sectors, and which might lead to practical solutions to our current societal challenges, and will help to build resilient societies in the thematic areas of ERUA and maybe beyond, like topics like migration, exile, refugees, environmental transition, democracy, human rights, inclusion, gender equality, interculturality, multilingualism, arts and edges. And now I would like to welcome our speakers and panelists. And first of all, I would like to give the floor to Dr. Ioannis Katsunis, who is the researcher at the University of the UAegean, and he will speak about insights into regional progress on the Sustainable Development Goals and present key research findings on relevant indicators, which are studied by ERUA. So Ioannis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Nomeda. Hello to everybody. My name is Ioannis Katsounis. I'm responsible for task working package for 5.1. And today we will discuss some things about sustainable development, because we are in a science cafe and we can have further conversations, but always related to our projects. Just a moment, please, to share my presentation. So we can start. We will see the roots of sustainable development, and the reason why the last 10 years where we talk about sustainable development, we have a discussion about sustainable development goals. So the last decades, the agenda has changed. The traditional approach was only about economic growth, about profits, and with no interest in other dimensions of sustainable development, about society and environment. So we had the term economic growth, which is strongly related to the increase in GDP and income, but it does not ensure prosperity for everyone. Now we focus on another term, on economic development, as we focus on improving living standards, and uh, we have developed some new indexes, more progressive, uh, which are not only related to economic efficiency, but also in other dimensions, as you can see in this slide, about long and healthy life, about knowledge, about a decent standard of living. So when we're referring to the term growth, we mean quantitative changes only in the economy. We have the economic development, which is about both quantitative and qualitative changes. For example, the introduction of new technologies. The integrated development, we talk about quantitative and qualitative changes in both economic and non-economic indicators. And now it is a sensation the last 10 years, sustainable development, quantitative and qualitative changes in economy, society, and environment. But if we want to have long-term sustainable development, we need a development that meets present needs without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. So the three dimensions of sustainable development is the economic efficiency, the social equity and justice, and environmental conservation. And some theoretical framework about neoclassical and ecological economies. We have the School of Weak Sustainability, supported by neoclassical environmental economists, considers the environment as just another form of capital, natural capital. Achieving sustainability requires the stability of total capital, both human-made and natural, over time. A key assumption is that perfect substitutability can exist between different forms of capital. An example of this perspective is that the loss of environmental quality, for example, due to oil extraction, is compensated by the creation of a social good, for example, transport, which requires fuel consumption. So the School of Weak Sustainability is closely linked to the concept of technocentrism, and supporters of extreme technocentrism argue that the combination of free markets and technological advancement can effectively address the environmental problems that arise. As a result, they do not impose limits on market consumption. And we have some neoclassical representative uh, Stiglitz and Daly, a supporter of strong sustainability school. So, despite having become a widely used term in recent years, frequently employed by the academic community, policymakers, international organizations, and environmental groups, sustainable development remains vague in terms of its origins, meaning, and practical applications. Uh, Additionally, there is a real risk of it turning into a mere buzzword, widely used yet lacking a clear and precise definition. So, as we saw before, the most widely accepted definition of sustainable development was introduced by former Norwegian Prime Minister Gro Harlem Brundtland as chair of the World Commission on Environment and Development. She presented her report, Our Common Future, to the United Nations General Assembly in 1987. We discussed previously uh, about the definition. So within this framework, sustainable development can serve as a development model that contributes to improving living standards while ensuring the preservation of the natural environment. And based on this sustainable development is built upon three key pillars: the economic efficiency, the social justice and equity, and environmental preservation. And I will say some things about environmental preservation. For development to be environmentally sustainable, it must maintain at least the minimum level of natural capital required to support essential ecosystem functions that ensure human being. The preservation of environmental functions enables the provision of resources essential for human survival, such as water, oxygen, soil, oceans, goods necessary for human consumption, food, ecosystem services, climate regulation, and these critical functions are provided free of charge by nature. However, it is disrupted or lost. If disrupted or lost, they will threaten the very existence of life on Earth. This is a classic diagram about the relationship among the three pillars of sustainability. So, some things, because we discuss for SDGs only the last 10 years, but they have a history. And we can say that from its founding charter in 1945, the United Nations established one of its primary goals as promoting international cooperation to address economic, social, cultural, and humanitarian issues while fostering respect for human rights, regardless of race, language, religion, or gender. So the first international recognition of the concept of sustainable development took place in 1972 in Stockholm, in Sweden, during the United Nations Conference on the Human Environment. And this led to the creation of the United Nations Environment Programme, which aimed to coordinate United Nations environmental activities and support developing countries in effectively implementing environmental policies. Until then, development and environmental issues had been treated as separate concepts. So, although the term sustainable development was not explicitly mentioned, the international community had the first agreement that development and the environmental policies should be addressed as a single integrated issue. So the next step was 20 years later, in 1992 in a Rio Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro, and it was a turning point as the United Nations Earth Summit focused on environment and development. During the conference, three major documents were adopted, and they are important. The Rio Declaration on Environment and Development, the Statement of Forest Principles for Sustainable Management, and Agenda 21, which emphasized that national development strategies must integrate the three pillars of sustainable development. And the importance of Agenda 21 was that it acknowledged that human well-being depends on the increasing interconnection of environmental and developmental issues as preserving the natural environment and contributes to improve the quality of life. So we had also other actions in Johannesburg, the Johannesburg Declaration, which aimed to further integrate the three dimensions. And in Rio de Janeiro, again in 2012, in the United Nations Conference, we had the adoption of the document, The Future We Want, which outlined the measures for implementing development. So, slide. Okay. The year 2015 marked a milestone in the latest global efforts toward achieving sustainable development. And during the 17th United Nations General Assembly, the 193 United Nations member states adopted the 2030 Agenda, which includes the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and 169 targets. The 2030 Agenda provides a policy framework to secure a sustainable future by balancing economic prosperity, social well-being, and environmental protection. The composition of the 17 SDGs resulted from a participatory consultation process involving a wide range of stakeholders, including governmental representatives at various levels, the private sector, and of course, NGOs. The SDGs are indivisible and universal as the challenges they address affect both the developed and developing world. And while national governments hold primary responsibility for their implementation, the global nature of these goals necessitates active participation from international, national, regional, subnational actors, and local actors. It is very interesting for us here. Another classic picture about SDGs. You can have my presentation when we will finish. So, some other things we already discussed about it. So, one of the key advantages of the SDGs is their flexibility in adapting to different geographic contexts. This adaptability allows for monitoring specific challenges in individual regions and setting localized targets. Moreover, beyond tracking progress at the national level, SDG monitoring can also occur within specific regions of a country, supporting the development of regional strategies and policies. Okay, and it is my personal opinion, as we are in a cafe, in a science cafe, and we can express ourselves. The 2030 Agenda and the 17 Sustainable Development Goals embrace a holistic approach as they integrate all three dimensions of sustainable development. And unlike the Millennium Development Goals, which were developed by a small group of technocrats, the SDGs emerge from a broader, inclusive process that actively involved developing countries. Additionally, the SDGs are easily understandable, making them accessible to the general public, helping citizens grasp their orientation and objectives. Of course, there is criticism, and we also agree with some points. Because despite the progressive nature of the 2030 Agenda and the SDGs, they have also been subject to criticism. The main argument against their effectiveness is that they fail to challenge the dominant economic and production model, which is based on economic growth, fosters inequality, and harms the environment. Furthermore, no clear implementation strategy is outlined. And although the SDGs aim for a fair redistribution of wealth, the wealthiest 1% of the global population, along with multinational corporations, not only remain unaffected, but are also actively involved in shaping policies. So, this is the first part. We have met several times about the work we do here with our team in the University of the Aegean, and I'm really glad and honest of my colleagues in the University of the Aegean, Vangelio, Giorgos, Yannis, Eleni, all of them. So, our mission. The first step we have taken was to classify our universities into NUTS2 regional units, which are defined by the nomenclature of territorial units for statistics. This classification, allows us to analyze regional data more effectively and tailor our strategies to the specific needs of each area. In ERUA 1, in the first ERUA, we created a reliable knowledge base to to understand how our regions align with the 2030 agenda. Now, uh, since each region performs differently across the Sustainable Development Goals, this approach ensures the best implementation of the project's objectives. Uh, Through this process, we create an interactive environment in ERUA 2. We have collected the first data. You can see them in Nextcloud. Ioannis have uploaded them, Ioannis Apostolopoulos. And the indicators used for the ERUA knowledge platforms are based on several official resources. You can see here we inspire these indicators from the European Union SDG indicator set. And this set includes indicators provided by the European Commission website to monitor progress towards sustainable development in the European Union. And the advantage is that we can revise it annually to incorporate new data from emerging sources and align with updated European Union policy priorities. The problem we have faced it also with Giorgos Strongylopoulos, as we have collaborated when I was a PhD candidate and when he was working for the North Aegean region. We have participated in a pilot program of the European Parliament about the monitoring progress in the SDGs. So we are very familiar to this progress. Also, we have the Regional Innovation Scoreboard about the performance of our regions, of our universities' regions, which is a regional extension of the European Innovation Scoreboard, and it assesses the innovation performance of European regions using a limited number of indicators. You can see in the next slide. These are the indicators from our IS. And based on these resources, we will explore the synergies between SDG monitoring, policy making, and sustainable development. We aim to connect regional needs and priorities with indicators and to help our universities, to help our regional authorities, and to help our local communities to be in touch with the progress in achieving the SDGs. So another slide about the Regional Innovation Scoreboard. Okay, thank you for your patience, and I apologize for my voice and my interruptions, but yes, it's a difficult day. Thank you.
Thank you, Ioannis, for your presentation. And please have a cup of coffee or tea to make your throat better.
Yes, it is
So that
necessary.
only in Lithuania we get sick from different like winds and cold and heat, but probably in Greece you feel the same.
Yes, sometimes.
Thank you very much for theoretical background and the historical route towards SDGs. And I have one question, if I may, by the coffee. We are in 2025, March 10. Tomorrow in Lithuania, we celebrate our 35 years of restoration of independence. So it's a big celebration for us. And are there any need for new goals or refined objectives, like in terms of what's going on around us in the world, like wars, unrest, pandemia we had some years ago, war in Ukraine, like brainwashing propaganda? Maybe you have some ideas how should we deal with sustainable development goals in the future?
So the challenges are many from 2015. The world has changed. We lived very, very important challenges and changes in our lives. You have also referred to COVID-19 period, to the war in Ukraine. So I think that, of course, we will not catch our targets by 2030. But as I said in my presentation, it is the first step to speak a common language. So SDGs are targets, and they they create a culture among citizens to be more responsible uh, in their lifestyle and to be more demanding to their local authorities, to their regional authorities, to their governments, etc. For example, uh, I was outside my primary school, and I saw that outside uh, outside in every class they had children. They have adopted uh, an SDG. Some of them, the SDG one about poverty, some others about uh, qualitative education, etc. So I think that we have a common ground to discuss and to be more optimistic for our future because challenges now are common, even we live in Lithuania, in Greece, or in another corner of this world.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ioannis. Do we have any other questions to Ioannis? I don't see the hands raised yet. Okay, Sarah, please.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, yes. Hi, Sarah.
Hello from Frankfurt Oder, from the Viadrina. Thank you very much for your presentation. I had a look at the indicators you chose from the indicator set from the European Union, and I noticed that that there are not indicators from all SDGs. So I see the point that maybe not all SDGs are very relevant to us. But I was wondering if it's still possible to include SDG number 7, which is clean and affordable energy.
I know.
And I think it would be very interesting to implement the indicator share of renewable energies in our region, because I think this is a very crucial indicator for sustainability in so many dimensions. It's not only important for ecological sustainability, but also economic and also social sustainability, because also it's a question of prices. So I was wondering if it's maybe just a suggestion, if it's still possible to include that.
And it's a very rational question, but it was not by our choice. But Eurostat don't provide data in notch 2 level for all SDGs. We can find all the indicators in a national level, but not in regional level. So it is a problem. It is a demand. Uh, George Stroglopoulos, you know that. We demanded that in the European Parliament to have data, specific data, to address and set our regional needs. I think that, I think, I'm not sure, I think, and I believe and I hope that the next few years, Eurostat will provide more specific data about regions. Yes, George.
Just to say something on that, only one phrase. Even national organizations, sorry for the double glasses, I think you've used a signal like that. Even national statistical organizations, in many cases, are not willing even to discuss the issues because they have a very specific mandate, and they need specific agreements and to allow them to discuss with any third party outside. So any other changes or development of new indicators or discussion about any new indicators, it's even this is a problem.
Exactly. And I will give you a paradigm. During my PhD period, I asked the Greek, the Hellenic Statistical Authority to provide me some data which were not in public. I received only the 25% because they were confidential. I don't know why, but they were confidential. And it was not about the security of our country. Okay.
Thank you very much. And now I would like to give the floor to our colleague and associate partner, Vilma Popovienė, who is Managing Director of Lithuanian Social Innovation Cluster. And she works with the regions of Lithuania, and the Social Innovation Cluster has a unique specific mission in Lithuania. And I would like Vilma to share what are your insights, what's going on in the Lithuanian arena. The floor is yours.
Yes, thank you, Nomeda. And thank you, everyone, for the possibility to be here with you today. And yeah, I will start from a little bit further. I've worked at the governmental sector in science and innovation field for 15 years. I worked in the Ministry of Education, Science and Sport, and was responsible for strategic planning and project planning in this field. And then in 2019, I fell in love with social innovations because yes, I saw social innovations like a unique opportunity to make a systemic approach and also to tackle local and global social challenges and bridge the gap between different regions. So that's how the social innovation, Lithuanian Social Innovation Cluster was born. It was established in 2020, right before COVID lockdown. And yes, today my presentation won't be scientific. My mission just to present what we do with the Social Innovation Cluster here in Lithuania. When we established it, there were no social clusters in Lithuania, and also I looked also in Latvia and Estonia, and then I tried to gather all my knowledge about it from different countries. And with the cluster, our main aim was to foster social innovation and also constructive dialogue between different stakeholders and organizations. So who we are? We are a network of reliable socially responsible partners, and we unite also state institutions and academia and NGOs, also socially responsible businesses, aiming for a smart, human-centered future society. We are trying to inspire and enable people and different communities all over the Lithuania to find and create solutions, social solutions themselves, and also to address emerging social challenges, not just local, but also to somehow to work with the international partners and also make full use of digital opportunities. So our vision, as I already mentioned, is smart society, innovative social solutions, and we are sure that we need to grow responsible and creative leaders who could be able to inspire communities in different areas for co-creation, and also to build sustainable culture of sharing ideas and cooperation. we had this interesting approach for a long time, that we do not share our ideas, right? Because somebody can steal it. But with social innovation, it's different. We have to share our ideas, and to invite as many as possible people and partners to cooperate together, and to be like community which can solve problems themselves, not just to look for solutions from, I don't know, state or business or somebody else, but try to do this by ourselves. So what I mean by smart society of the future, as I already mentioned, of course, it's leadership. We need proactive leaders. We need creative, flexible, resilient, and responsible leaders who can bring together people, different people from different sectors, with different competences and skills. Because social innovations are very complex and integral. We have to join different fields, different sectors, and also try to find some new effective methods, or create programs, or, I don't know, solutions for emerging challenges right now, which in this very radically changing world, they are emerging very fast. So also we need to build an efficient and sustainable ecosystem, because now for a long time in Lithuania, social innovation ecosystem was very and still is, I think, very fragmented, and everybody tries to do something by themselves in their field, and it's quite difficult to gather people to work together for a common goal, and not just for profit, but also just, I don't know, for the good, for our society and our children. So it's not an easy challenge also for us. And what are we doing as a Lithuanian social innovation cluster? We have established an innovative creative education center in Vilnius, Lithuania, for adults and youth, which is designed to grow for adults and youth to grow in an environment of fellowship and learning, long life learning, and as well as to create sustainable and meaningful social relationships, to strengthen these relationships, and to create long-term value and impact by fostering culture of responsibility, collaboration, and trust. And everything begins from the leader. So our main target is young people or young adults and their leadership. What we see as a leadership, and first of all, is self-leadership, and then we have to develop competences like creativity, empathy, analytical and critical thinking, social responsibility, because still sometimes we see that social responsibility is just for the check for some businesses or organization, but we try to see it like a way of life and activities. So it's also very important competence. Also community empowerment, change management, responsible leadership, and searching for innovative solutions. So competences is one of the target goals in our cluster. Another one is emotional and psychological resilience, which we like to strengthen through individual and group mentoring, and also consultations, practical training, different discussions, and also situation simulations. That's where technologies jumps in, because we know that when we are working with youth, it's very important to find I don't know, new language or new method to talk with them. So that's when virtual reality, for example, or artificial intelligence is quite important tool, and simulating situations is more useful than just a theoretical approach, especially with young people. Also, preventive educational activities are carried out in our center in human trafficking, addictions, burnout, and other relevant areas. And we try to develop and apply innovative preventive measures and programs at different schools and universities in Lithuania, in different regions in Lithuania. Also encouraging young people to volunteer, and adults also to volunteer in these different initiatives. We are also in this prevention field, we also are collaborating with the Lithuanian Police Department. And when we are organizing mentoring and creative workshops, using this innovative gamified digital methods, we have a mobile team, which is a few people. One is a mentor, other one is from police department, and also teachers. They just go to different schools and universities, and they make these different workshops and trainings and simulations and so on. So when we started our activity in 2020, we did not need office because it was lockdown, and we had this mobile team, and it became as an advantage, as we are quite flexible, and we can go in different places and do our activities there. One more thing which I would like to mention, that Social Innovators Academy was established as a non-formal education initiative by Lithuanian Social Innovation Cluster, together with the members of cluster, different universities and colleges, and also national and international partners. We have few members, few international members from Sweden and from Cyprus, and we are cooperating in the fields of science education and social entrepreneurship. So the aim of this academy is to enable future innovators, young people and communities to address this relevant and region-specific, because in different regions, even in Lithuania, the needs and challenges are very specific. They differ from one region to another. To address these specific region social challenges, and in the process of co-learning and co-creating together, these future innovators are led from the idea, from generating ideas to the final result, which is the implementation of an innovative social solution, one or another, that creates long-term value and impact, because if it's not social innovation. So shortly, it would be all from my side. If you have questions, I can answer it.
Thank you, Vilma. Do we have any questions? I don't see hands raised, but I have one question. You mentioned self-leadership. Is leadership defined by a position, by the career position, or is it something different? Like anyone can be a leader in his or her own field.
Yes, it's a good question. Is leadership are we born as a leaders, or are we made as a leader? So I think both, and it's not defined by your position. Anyone can take leadership because it's responsibility, it's proactiveness, it's when you care of something, right? When you cannot sleep at night and you wake up in the morning and you just want to go and solve something which bothering you or make you feel not so good about your society, about your region, about your country, or maybe just about your city or small town. So we think that we have to grow leaders, and the young people, they want to participate in these different activities. They want to make actions. So we have to bring them together, because now they lack of the ability for communicate with each other, communicate with adults, with I don't know, people from different areas and sectors. So yeah, we think we just have to grow them.
Thank you very much. You are doing meaningful and majestic work in Lithuania by providing a space, like an incubation for leadership development in different areas. Thank you, Vilma, very much.
Thank you, Nomeda. Thank you.
And now I would like to invite my colleague Jolanta Bieliauskaitė, who is the head of ERUA Strategic Partnership. And she will share the story of VP3 about research clusters, how research clusters are contributing to sustainable development in the regions. So Jolanta, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, and good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me here, and I'm trying to share my screen. Hopefully it works. Can you see it?
We can see.
Okay, thank you. So I will be very brief here, because I see that many participants already know who or what ERUA is, that ERUA unites 8 universities, and it was shown on the first presentation what kind of universities we have. So we have a very diverse team, we could say, and I of course would add our associate partners universities. Of course, we have a lot of associate partners, and we are very thankful that they're participating. Thanks for Vilma from Lithuanian Social Innovation Clusters. So we also have as associate partners our Danish colleagues from Roskilde University and Constance University from Germany. So, and why clusters? Why ERUA research clusters? I believe some of you are already members of those clusters. And we had a huge competition, I should say. We have selected several clusters, and the one of some requirements were for research clusters that they would bring together at least 5 researchers and at least from 2 partner institutions. So therefore, we have very interdisciplinary clusters that combine unique research excellence of each ERUA university and aims at social impact, and it involves early stage researchers, which is very important for us. I don't know why you can see this, but it's about thematic areas. They have already been mentioned today. So maybe I will show you the numbers. So as I have mentioned, we have 21 research cluster that unite more than 200 academics, and 6 research clusters have external partnerships, but as I have seen, many research clusters are open. So they welcome you, those who haven't joined clusters, or another way, we are planning the next call for opening research clusters. at the end, most probably this year. So you can think about this right now and to start gathering your team, especially if you are willing to contribute to at least one or maybe several of these research thematic areas like migration, exile and refugees, arts and edges, democracy and human rights, inclusion, gender equality, environmental transition, interculturality and multilingualism. And of course, we have some other possibilities of other thematic areas that are related to the main ones. So I'm not sure if colleagues will share the presentation. These are just some examples of research clusters and the topics that might be interesting for those who are present here at this Science Café. Within this topic, so it's about transformative social change, about mixed migration flows. We have interdisciplinary research on people inclusion, technology dependent societies, or managing social sustainability through creativity and local practices. I'm not reading everything, as you can see, because you have a chance to read these slides and even more. We have topics on climate change, environmental migration and sustainable development, also historical legacies, on law, memory, and reconciliation. So, since I told that my presentation will be extremely brief, I would like just to invite you to explore our website, ERUA website, and all the research clusters have already been announced, and you can see the full description and you can see the whole team. And as I have mentioned, some of the clusters are very open to join them. So please feel free to explore our website. Or if you have any questions, you can contact me, Jolanta Bieliauskaitė, or our head of Research and Innovation Center, Laura Zavleckienė. The organizers of Science Café have our contacts. Of course, you are welcome to contact those persons who are leading those clusters, specific teams that could be interesting for you. So thank you so much for your attention. And if you have any questions, I would be very happy to answer them.
Thank you, Jolanta. Do we have any questions from our by our coffee table? So we have science, we have research, we have, I hope coffee is not cold yet. And now I would like to give the floor to George Stogilopoulos, who is innovation policy expert, and he will bring forward the topic of environmental sustainability, like challenges, potential solutions tailored to diverse regional contexts, as identified by our European Reform University Alliance. So welcome, George, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much for the invitation. It's very nice to talk about things that we have. I'm recently working here at the university concerning this part of social entrepreneurship, and then with Yanis, 1.5 years ago, we did all this work concerning the SDGs, and also some about 20 and more years ago, we have created an organization which is called Greenovate Europe there in Brussels. And in the last minutes before I start my presentation, I changed a few slides just to remember something that happened many years ago. You see that every coincidence is very accidental. I will start with a joke there. These jokes, it was Bush time. It was a presentation that I did in Tel Aviv in 2011. So if it reminds you something now, it still fits. So global warming, environmental transition, Cold War, just to balance the two. Now, if we were talking about eco-innovation, this organization was mainly about how actually you make business out of green innovation. And climate change and limited resources were the main actually factors that influencing. But were also, I will not enter into the details. All these climate change issues, limited resources, had all this interaction with the global competition. And one of the main factors that was actually influencing and still influences is the regulatory framework in everything that has to do with green innovation and all the issues concerning any kind of business, either it's for money or it's non-profit, or and it's related to environmental issues, and also market determinants and firm determinants. What I would like to mention, it's a graph that I have used many times, but it's so popular today. I mean, it's so interesting today. This goes from all the stimulus packages that were about to start, or they have already started by 2009, 2011, all over the world concerning the support of green technologies and green investments. And you see how the Asian countries were occupying, concerning money, at least 25% of this almost $500 billion dollars, dollars. At 2009, between 2011, this was all the money was scheduled. So Asian countries were already going towards this direction about 15 years ago. Okay, and you can see what is actually happening today. So all these battles concerning regulation, resources, and everything is happening. However, now we are in a different, we're talking about different cases. We're talking about our ERUA. It's a project that quite a lot of us, we work together. There are 5 areas, as you have seen from the other partners, and the one in the middle is the area number 2 that is related to environmental transition. So what we did is we have said what is our interest by sending more than 200 questionnaires in the 8 regions, 8 countries where the ERUA universities are located. What we wanted to find out is, as we found out in parallel, which I'm not going to present, social challenges which are related to migration, exile, democracy, arts and edges, and interculturality. We try to find social challenges which are related to environmental transition, and the way that those that have been interviewed try to cluster them in serious clusters. It's related with the clusters presentation before. So we start working in the project if the findings fit with what other activities are doing. And these are the main findings. The ones in the middle is the challenges is the climate change, the preservation of natural resources, energy prices, insufficient skills, and we'll see how it enters into more of these activities, low level of environmental awareness in society, and also I will add here the importance, and the scarcity of resources, environmental change vs social cohesion. European money, in many cases, are related to social cohesion. With Yanis before, we have realized through the work that we have done that social cohesion, regional social cohesion, in regions, not in large regions in Europe, small regions like 2 digits, are not related to the detailed measurement of SDGs. There were only a few regions that actually performed this, and one of the regions, the one that were located here at the university, and we're quite proud of that. I will just make a summary of the challenges, and then I will focus only quickly into 2 regions and the findings. The first summary is going to be about the challenges that have been identified by the interviews in the various universities. And then I will just compare the challenges, put together the challenges and the, let's say, the solutions or the potential business, non-profit business activities that could be developed around this area in 2 countries. 2 countries, 2 regions, the regions of North and South Aegean, at the same time the region of Las Palmas and Canary Islands. If we go to the next, these were the main issues that were raised up as challenges from the three universities in Poland, Bulgaria, and Lithuania. So consumption policy, for example, I will not enter into, you can read them, I will not enter into all of this. I will enter into those which I think that they're quite interesting because we see different paces. The consumption and consumption societies do not allow new products and environmentally related products, which are related also to societies and solving societal problems, to enter as fast as possible into the markets. We have non-aware people. We have non-qualified staff. We have slow adoption. I mean, consumption goes with slower adoption of circular, technologies and economies. And these are challenges that need to be balanced. And those challenges are those also which are related with the natural resources and the non-existent of all these resources at the same time in the same way in most of the countries. And we see the case of Viadrina and Macerata in Italy. You see similar findings going also into energy issues much more than the inability of quick digital capitalization and the quick digital capitalization in this social entrepreneurship issues is very much related to your ability to measure and to measure on time and to measure online and then to get as fast as possible decisions which were going to harm the environment. Now, if we try to go into two, let's say, examples of two regions which are related, they have islands, almost the same number of islands, 10 in about North Aegean. We put also South Aegean here in our analysis, but most of our interviews were from the North Aegean. You see environmental problems which are coming from the climate change, and mainly the solutions which are, and the business opportunities which arise is about recycling, about advice, about training, and about consultation to companies or to organizations. All these are translated into potential services. Let's be honest here. This is not each one of these ideas is a ranking of ideas only. It's not, let's say, an analysis of their vital or not role. It's a summary of questions or answers to specific questions. If we go to the second page of those related to Las Palmas, water management and water management of resources, again with auditing of the management, usage control, ability for water access, the same applies with energy, are challenges and solutions to those islands are, they have focused concerning environmental transition and the potential social entrepreneurship solutions. Finally, again about water and about the way that you can manage your resources. This was 3 transparencies about Las Palmas. If we talk about the North Aegean, and South Aegean, then we see almost in different words up and down the same pattern concerning the challenges and the needs for solutions. So agriculture areas, which are some of these islands, there are agricultural areas, but with limited resources, they need sensors and all these new technologies in order to measure and count the resources anytime. The same applies with policies, not only measuring what we have concerning the SDGs, but also asking for money and what technologies for what. And the second part is about platforms, application of artificial intelligence, the ability to mobilize citizens in the various applications in order to guard also some of the solutions which are proposed and of course, educational technology in order to have sustainability. These were the main topics that were actually discussed during the interviews that we had. Now, also, but they have entered also the answers into also other paths concerning how tourism could be more environmental friendly, how it was over tourism in Las Palmas and the management over tourism, because we're not, at least in the North Aegean, in the same direction, and also how the environment could be used for healing and therapeutic reasons, either for sensitive themes of our, society, in order to, to work, either to work with them directly or at least to provide products that could support them. This was up and down what the melange that I wanted to give you as information today. I hope it was a little bit fresh, at least, and I'm more than happy to answer to any of your questions.
Thank you, George. I liked the overall idea that there is a social challenge and there is a business opportunity, and there are ideas. You provided several ideas how to solve certain challenges of our societies in the regions. Do we have any questions to George? I would like to encourage our participants. Octavio, I see Octavio is raising his hand. Octavio, please.
Good morning, George. Thank you very much for your exposition. I come from the Canary Islands, from the university here of Las Palmas, and I find so many details, physical details, and all kind that show me that we are far away from this consciousness of this responsibility that we are asking, the consciousness of our environment and the social implications that have that. And being in the position of being a teacher in the university, teaching to future teachers of kindergarten and teachers of primary education, I find it that our kids are not ready they don't see this separation that they experience. They are experiencing this separation from nature, but also from themselves. One of the activities that I have to start with my kids, my students, is to inspire them and to produce the necessary creative movement to be able to move their thinking. And so how can we hope something positive in the future if we, at the basic of our educational group, we are not inspiring enough, and our curriculum is not taking in account seriously what creativity and artistic creativity brings to our new way of thinking, because this is an old way of thinking that and my question, George, is how can we propose so many wonderful ideas if our base thinking is not uniting us, uniting with nature?
Well, that's a big issue. Well, my feeling is the feeling of coming close to environmental issues is it depends a lot of the local environment. That's why I try to put some ideas from each region and the way that they have been collected. It's totally different to be at Ruhr Valley in Germany than being in the islands that we live. I've been in the Canaries, and I've been in one of the islands that was magnificent. And when I was in Fortavedera, when I was in the main island, it was so, the amount of cement was so much that it was impossible to find you know, the cities, to separate the cities and the villages. So in our case, we don't want to go towards this direction. And this is, for example, in North Aegean, we don't want to go towards this direction. We have to protect ourselves. So we have to make an awareness that is related, and it is happening actually, that says, no, this, we shouldn't do it. In your case, it's the awareness, no, we've gone too far in some cases. So the policy is still, you know, differs from region to region. However, what I will not stop saying is that whatever you want to apply concerning environmental transition, except pure ecology, is always dependent on environmental regulations. And regulations are those which actually shape innovation trends in this area. And those, it depends on the limits and that you are putting, that rules the whole industry and the whole technologies underneath.
Well, it's a great opportunity to live in this island and see the drama that we experience. No, as you said, so much cement. But I do agree, or I want to place something that Vilma brought about, is the sensibility. No, when we work with art, we work with the soul aspect of the will, the feeling, and the thinking, but imaginative thinking. And more, this cement that you speak, George, is emphasized with the lack of reality, because our youngsters spend so many hours looking at the images that are not real, images that have to do with the false reality, and these are representations that our thinking use to think. And this is making us even further. So our technology that these youngsters have more than 5 hours a day is making us not move inwardly in the will, not making us really connecting to our feelings, because we are not meeting the person eye to eye, and our thinking is being is full of images that doesn't belong to us. So what are we creating? I am not very hopeful in this way, unless we go deeper into the capacity of the human being to be creative, really creative.
And of course, all these challenges are not only about the environmental transition. They go together with the other 4 areas. So if we saw them separately presented here, but if we see also the other challenges and opportunities that occur from the other 4 areas, we see that there's a whole block of initiatives, which is quite interesting to me.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and very insightful talks. And but I see that our time is running out, and I would like to give the floor to our last but not least presenter, Rebbe van der Wegel, who is the member of RIPES, and she will talk about solidarity economy building, the intercontinental network for the promotion of social solidarity economy, members, values, and actions. Rebbe, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and greetings to everybody here from Finland, Helsinki, where I'm talking to you from. Thank you for all the presentations, and also, well, very interesting considerations that started to get on in with our discussions. I'm now going to try to push the magic button to come to the screen sharing, and hope that this goes okay. Yes, I have the presentation there, which contains too much information, but I will try to be fluid. And then I push this one. Yes, there we are. So my thing here is to introduce a network to you, RIPES, which is an intercontinental network around the building of the social solidarity economy, and to tell a bit about its workings, where it's coming from, and what also I myself do, and try to connect it to our discussion here. Solidarity economy building, perhaps a very familiar word for some of you, perhaps for others not that much of yet, but let's say that it's another take on economy. Where do you want to situate the beginnings? The word solidarity. I put here some pictures coming from movement building sites, images at large. You could go back to, for instance, the 60s, when there were the student protests around civil rights. Of course, the anti-globalization movement coming up in the 90s. We remember the big protests in Seattle. And through that process, then also alternative envisioning happened, of course, about other possible economy. And basically the kind of birth of the international intercontinental network of RIPES is situated in 1997, when there was a big coming together of different actors in Peru, and a larger network was born. And it developed further a lot also through the process of the World Social Forum, which put to the forefront not only protesting the increasing corporate control, but what also was put into the forefront that another world is really possible, and that wanted to bring actors together through these people's processes. Then also the whole notion of solidarity economy was taken further. So what is it putting on the table? Again, apologies for this amount of text here. But if you want to say on a micro level, and that is, I don't like the word very much, but that is just very much the core of where change is situated for solidarity economy building. So it's an invitation actually for everybody to be rethinking economy, but starting really from own daily life, from our needs, the challenges that were already also brought to the forefront in other presentations, but even pinpointing it down to what are really our needs and what kind of answers can we be giving there. The main economy's main question then becomes that how do we organize life together? And then solidarity here is meaning that if we put on the right lenses, we can see all around us many different layers of cooperative practices, which are sharing really other values, a commitment to different values, like the sharing of power, fundamentally, diversity, autonomy, equality, and ecology. And this is at the core of these economic relations built in solidarity. Profit not being the main leitmotif, but the reproduction of social life. And solidarity economy building that wants to then say that we can identify these already existing practices, we can work more through them, we can strengthen them by their interlinking, and in that way expand the space for another economy. It's as such not a proposal for a little part of economy, it's a proposal for the whole of economy. Now, of course, we also need to look at the macro level. If the locus of change for solidarity economy building is really in our everyday practices, of course, we need to be met by a macro level in which there is institutions and also changes of systems which accommodate the building of a solidarity economy. And of course, there is, of course, a lot of work to be done on all fronts there. I just share with you a picture of economy that is typically put to the forefront when talking about solidarity economy. Ethan Miller, a scholar, put this once to the forefront, showing a picture of economy, of all the sectors, different sectors of economy, and to see what other kind of envisioning of economic practices is possible. These kind of pictures can be inspiring for people to, in a locality, to map what are in our place, in my city, in my town, what are the different places where we are really doing things, trying to do things in a different way? And how does our map of our different economy look like in all the spheres of economy? Now, RIPES as a network and solidarity economy building at large, it interacts a lot with movements. I've already put that to the table. And I put here for you the example of one movement which is close to the solidarity economy and of which is basically works with solidarity economy also fundamentally at its core. It's the notion of food sovereignty. I put to the forefront here the movement La Via Campesina, which for sure will be known to many of you, arguably the largest social movement today in the world, bringing together small-scale farmers, subsistence gatherers, fishers. And so they had to come up with a response to the notion of food security, which was leading in the global south to a lot of dumping of produce, and of the global south, of course, being in troubles with trying to promote its own agriculture and engage in a really just trade with the rest of the world. And it came up with the notion of food sovereignty, which is not only about the right to the access to food, but about the fact that how do we grow our food, how do we consume, how do we distribute, and to put that at the core of the debate, and to have the farmers at the core of the debate, their voice, and of course us also as citizens, not as consumers, but as citizens, as people who eat every day, and in the best cases 3 times. This movement organized further also through the UN. Today we have the International Planning Committee for Food Sovereignty, and it organized further through movements. A very notable process is that of Nieleni, which is still alive today also. There was a first Nieleni Food Sovereignty Forum in Mali in 2007, which came out with a declaration. Mali, in the Nieli village there, actually Nieleni is the name of a woman, a farmer in Mali, who stood up for these values already a long time ago. The forum was taken forward in a forum for agroecology in 2015. And now we're all really looking forward and working hard towards the Nieleni Forum of this year, which will take part in 2025 in Sri Lanka. And different regional consultations have been taking place of the regions in the world to come to solidifying voices around what are needs, what are challenges, and what are we wanting to put out the word. And this is a movement increasingly also in the north. In terms of solidarity economy then, and the building, what have been the economic forms of response in line also with the building of the food sovereignty movement? Farmers, consumers, wanting to come to very different forms of organizing than what the market has been putting up front. Forms of organizing which is much more based on trust, which is much more for wanting to form mutual networks of support between producers and citizens, to come, of course, to healthy food, to come to decent livelihoods for producers, and to beyond that also come towards systemic change. I put here down the history or where started one form of organizing with, that is of community supported agriculture, starting already in the 60s in Japan. And also we here in Finland, we have community supported agriculture initiatives for which also I work here in Finland, in Helsinki, since now some 15 years. So community supported agriculture initiatives, forms of solidarity economy actors, they're about the coming together of farmers and consumers. And today, Urgency, which is a member of RIPES, it's the international network for short supply food chains and for community supported agriculture, estimates that in Europe, some 1 million people actually already are getting their food through these local kind of initiatives. So we're not, if we're talking about solidarity economy actors, we're not smalling about a small niche. We're talking about a large amount of people and networks that are actually seeing to basic needs globally. I put here also on the table for you very briefly our food cooperative, because wanting to talk about it is why is our network working there on the roots and for whom, also for these very local initiatives. We have a food cooperative in Helsinki, which is through Urgency also a member of RIPES. It is called Oma Maa. It means our soil. And it is wanting to further around the year a people's process around good agriculture, which of course means food, but also other basic needs. We are situated a little bit outside of Helsinki. There are 2 farms involved there. We have a kitchen, we have a small membership place in town. And in that way, we are taking care of some 100 hectares of land, which are including gardens, a food forest. We also have some cows only for biodiversity purposes, and also chickens. Now, the whole point of our working on the land and the making of our food bags for our members is that first we care for the land and then we see what we eat. So through these principles of permaculture and polyculture, we want to get to good food, make food bags around the year in which we use traditional methodologies, but also global tastes. And fundamentally, this is rooted in peer-to-peer pedagogical process of co-production. So it is there that is, if in our last intervention, we talked about how can we really come to understand how to work towards sustainability if we have lost so much contact to, for instance, nature, to the land, to these things about it. So this is also what is at the core here of solidarity economy, this building of fundamentally different relations to that what makes up for our basic needs. I have here a photo of our farmer, and I put here a quote of him, because why does it matter? Why does it matter to work and to support these little initiatives? And I read here the quote from him, what he once said. So talking about the importance of our community-supported agriculture initiatives, of our solidarity economy actors. Now he said that food is first of all what joins us all. So in whose hands the control of our food system lies, and of course, importantly, water. In those hands, the control of society lies. So in other words, people can more govern their own lives when the food system is in their control. So in that sense, all efforts that are done to get food back into the control of people is very important for the development of society. And only by addressing this, we can change our society to be more just and fair. So the point being here that what is being said, that we all talk about it, that changing our food system can bring systemic change, but we are talking less about it, that the process of change are to lie in the hands of the people's processes, not left to the market or to business as usual, or to the banner of the innovation needing to lead business objectives. What should lie at the core is people's values, what we really want to do, and our needs. They need to be informing what we do. All this is a little introduction about solidarity economy and about where it's putting the focus. Then we get to our network, an intercontinental network, as I told you, wanting to put forward the promotion of social and solidarity economy, strengthening cooperation between networks. So it's a network of networks, so cooperation between networks, national, regional networks, and of course, advocacy and working towards public authorities. I put here for you some numbers about when the network started in different regions. Yeah, as I was saying, I myself am working for the core team of RIPES Europe, which is then one chapter of the Intercontinental Network. And in the history of RIPES, the recent history, let's say that the UN resolution, which perhaps you are familiar with, which came out in 2023, which is putting to the forefront that solidarity economy is very important if we want to talk about the realizing of the Sustainable Development Goals. Of course, that was a very important moment for the solidarity economy movement, something also that comrades worked hard towards. But of course, we have that resolution. We still need actually much more voices to be backing what is that resolution, how is that put into practice? How can that be put into practice? And what does then research show us? Your engagement in research, how does research show the relevance of solidarity economy as also where where is the need for support. So to talk about RIPES Europe, existing since 2011, some 40 member organizations in some 20 countries. Our network works with an assembly, with a coordination committee, with a team for which, as said, I work, and is at the moment reorganizing itself into working circles. The objectives are promoting of solidarity economy, again, the alliance building and the working towards public policy actors. And we have different projects with different members on a wide range of thematical areas. Ethical financing has, for instance, been an area, feminist economy, other kind of economies, the care economy, of course, today, the developing of different kind of soft skills, as we call it, to be dealing also in economic activity. And a large project, which we are today still running with different countries, is the youth care project, very much focusing on youth, having also, for instance, a re-granting process in there to strengthen youth initiatives that are being taken in different countries, for them to discuss what can another economy look like, what is this that we want to work around, and how can we be supported in that. I myself am working also for RIPES' Knowledge Commons Circle, as we call it. And one important part of my work then is regarding the development of socio-eco online solidarity economy library. I don't know if this is a familiar instrument to you. It was created in 2011. A lot of references there have been developed from my colleague, Françoise Gutierrez, who handed over her work last year to me. So I've been now for a year involved. Resources can be found in many languages. As said, a lot of references, and it's about the bringing in place of a library, case studies, research, trainings, also legislation, and in that way also working together with other websites and being interconnected.
Our scheduled time for the Science Cafe is limited, so maybe you can...
Yes, I should be wrapping up. I understand. Yes, so I still add that also with our Knowledge Commons circle, one thing, for instance, that we have done is also to talk about university cooperation. And for instance, the last thing that we have been doing now is developing guidelines for non-extractive research. So how can really the research between researchers and practitioner, again, putting needs, not only of the researcher, but importantly, the needs of the practitioners, how can they be met in a non-extractive way, and how can research be built? From there on, developing those guidelines, and it would actually also perhaps be interesting to share them one day with all of you, beyond the guidelines, how can we form perhaps networks where practitioners and researchers can meet themselves to see what are the needs for research which are really coming from the field. Yeah, I still had a little bit about the youth care project, but I'll let it be. And I add that gamifying was come to the forefront. We have also developed a game for transformative economies, a board game with which also we want to share in schools and different places to, again, to make already from a much earlier time to, in also these very difficult times when it's so challenging to think that another world is possible, to bring that conversation back home and to give tools for people and for youth to think about other forms of organizing that can make for other futures. Yes, I will stop here. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby, for your meaningful and inspiring presentation. And I see that our time is running short, and as always by the coffee, it's difficult to stop on time, but we need to be respectful to our time. So I would like to thank everyone for your presentation, for participating in the meeting. And should you have any questions, maybe we can just connect to each other somehow and continue our talks either on the future science cafes or during other events organized by ERUA. And I would like to thank each and every one of you for presenting, for participating, for raising important questions that are important to our regions, to our societies. And I kindly ask you to remain in contact with each other, and please fill the survey that we prepared for this Science Cafe, and I will put the link in the chat. So thank you once again, and let's meet by a cup of coffee next time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
Bye-bye.